Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. Every thought, every belief, every reaction shapes your reality. But what if I told you that you have the power to control it all? What if you could turn the noise of the world into clarity, the chaos into calm? In the next few minutes, we're going to unlock the secrets to mastering your mind and taking back control of your life. Are you ready to stop being a passenger in your own story and start becoming the author? Stay tuned. This is where your transformation begins. We've all been there. You're hit with a wave of frustration, anger, or sadness. It's like the world is against you, like everything's falling apart. But here's the truth. The world isn't the problem. The problem is how you're responding to it. The Stoic mindset teaches us a different way of seeing the world, a way that empowers you not to control everything around you, but to control what matters most, your own thoughts. If you want to unlock true mental freedom, you need to understand that the external world has no power over you unless you give it that power. It's easy to blame other people, situations, or life's curveballs for how we feel, but Stoicism teaches that you are in full control of your inner world. And once you master that, no one can take your peace. The Stoics, men and women like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, understood that life would never be without challenges. They knew that we would all face hardship, betrayal, and disappointment at some point in our lives. But what made them so remarkable wasn't that they avoided these things. It's that they never allowed external circumstances to dictate their inner peace. They mastered the art of choosing their responses. That's the power of the Stoic mindset. The core of Stoicism. What's within your control? The first thing you need to understand when adopting a Stoic mindset is the simple but powerful principle. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. Ask yourself this question: what can I control right now? The answer, my friend, is always within you. You have complete control over your thoughts, your reactions, and your actions. What you can't control, however, are the actions of others or the external events that life throws at you. Think about that for a second. How much time and energy do you waste stressing over things that are out of your control? Your boss's mood, the traffic jam on your way to work, or someone's harsh words. We've all been there, but imagine the freedom you'd feel if you let go of all that unnecessary stress. The Stoics didn't waste their time or energy trying to change things they couldn't control. Instead, they focused on what they could change, their own reactions. What if your thoughts aren't yours? Let's dig a bit deeper. Most of us don't realize it, but many of the thoughts we have, especially the negative ones, aren't even our own. They've been conditioned into us over time through our upbringing, society, and our experiences. Think about it. Have you ever thought to yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this"? These thoughts don't come from your true self. They come from the world's expectations, other people's judgments, or even past failures. This is where Stoicism gets really powerful. Stoic philosophy teaches that we must challenge these automatic thoughts. Not every thought that pops into your head is a reflection of reality. In fact, most of them are based on fear, ego, or past trauma. The Stoics taught us that when a negative thought arises, we have the power to pause, reflect, and then decide if that thought is truly serving us. The next time you feel a surge of anger or frustration, ask yourself, where is this thought coming from? Is this my true self speaking, or is it my conditioned reaction? When you can separate yourself from those automatic responses, you begin to reclaim your mental space and take control over your emotions. The importance of perspective, seeing things differently. Now, here's where the Stoics really shine. Perspective is everything. Life is not about what happens to you, but how you choose to interpret what happens. For example, let's say you get cut off in traffic. The typical reaction is anger, frustration, and even thoughts of revenge. But what if you flip the script? What if, instead of assuming the worst about the other driver, you assumed that maybe they were having a tough day, or that they didn't mean to cause harm? What if you saw the situation not as an attack on you, but simply as a minor inconvenience in the grand scheme of things? This is Stoic thinking at its finest. It's not about denying your emotions or pretending that bad things don't happen. It's about choosing to see things through a lens that doesn't allow external events to define your emotional state. When you see life through the Stoic perspective, everything shifts. The annoyances, the setbacks, the challenges, they no longer hold the same power over you. You start seeing them as opportunities for growth, tests of your resilience, and moments to practice the power of control. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers and emperors, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He understood that the mind is where true strength lies. If you can master your thoughts, then no external force can shake you. This isn't some abstract, feel-good idea. It's a practical, real-world skill that can completely change the way you live. Building inner strength, the Stoic practice. So, how do you start building this Stoic mindset? It's simple, but it takes time and consistent effort. The Stoics had a practice of reflection, of sitting quietly and examining their thoughts, reactions, and emotions. This daily practice is crucial to gaining control over your mind. You don't need to meditate for hours a day or sit in silence for long periods. Just a few minutes every day to pause, reflect, and challenge your thoughts is enough to start rewiring your mind. One powerful Stoic practice is the negative visualization technique. This involves imagining the worst-case scenario, not to make you anxious, but to help you realize how much you already have. For example, picture losing your job, your home, or your loved ones. It sounds harsh, but when you realize that everything you have could be taken away, it makes you deeply appreciate what you do have. It also prepares you emotionally to handle the unexpected without falling into despair. Another Stoic practice is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, reflections, and frustrations helps you process your emotions and gain clarity. It's a way to detach from your immediate reactions and view things from a more objective perspective. This is where the magic happens, in that pause between stimulus and response, where you choose how to react. Creating new thought patterns. The Stoics didn't just stop at identifying negative thoughts, they actively replaced them. If you're prone to anger, fear, or doubt, challenge those thoughts with empowering, rational counter-thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I can't do this," try thinking, "I may struggle, but I will learn. I will keep going." Instead of, "This isn't fair," think, "This is an opportunity for growth. I can handle this." The more you repeat these new, empowering thoughts, the more they will become your default response. The Stoic mindset isn't just about controlling your anger or frustration. It's about creating a mental environment where calm, clarity, and strength are your default settings. By consistently challenging negative thoughts and replacing them with more productive, rational ones, you build a stronger, more resilient mind. Living with purpose, moving from reacting to acting. This brings us to one of the most crucial Stoic lessons: moving from reacting to acting. Life throws curveballs. You'll encounter disappointments, rejections, and frustrations. But the Stoic doesn't react. Instead, they act with purpose and control. Every day, you face decisions. Will you react to the world around you, or will you act with intention? Will you let your emotions control you, or will you take responsibility for how you feel and how you respond? The Stoic mindset is about consciously choosing your actions and responses, not letting them be dictated by external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you are constantly reacting to external circumstances, you will always be at the mercy of the world. But when you take control of your thoughts and decide to act with purpose, you can create a life that is truly aligned with your values and goals. The power of Stoic wisdom, changing your life. Now let's bring it all together. Adopting the Stoic mindset doesn't just mean reading philosophy or repeating empowering quotes. It means taking consistent action to change your thought patterns, your reactions, and your life. The Stoic path is a daily practice. It's about pausing, reflecting, and then choosing how to respond. It's about recognizing that you are in control of your thoughts and your actions, no matter what happens around you. Every time you choose to respond with calm instead of anger, with clarity instead of confusion, you strengthen your mind. Every time you take a step back and reflect before reacting, you practice the Stoic art of self-mastery. And with every practice, you become more resilient, more grounded, and more capable of facing whatever life throws at you. You might not be able to control the world, but you can control your mind. And that's where your true power lies. The Stoic mindset isn't about avoiding hardship, it's about thriving through it. By mastering your thoughts and reactions, you reclaim control over your life. The journey continues. The journey to mastering your thoughts and embracing the Stoic mindset is ongoing. You will face challenges. You will stumble. But as you practice, you will build the mental strength to face anything. And when you do, you'll realize that the world can't disturb you. Only your interpretation of it can. So choose your interpretation wisely. Choose the path of the Stoic. Choose to act with intention, with purpose, and with clarity. Your future depends on it. Your peace depends on it. And the power to change it is already within you. In life, we are constantly faced with triggers, situations, and people that challenge our emotional state. It's easy to let anger take over when things don't go as planned, when someone disrespects us, or when we feel the injustice of the world pressing in. But here's the truth: anger doesn't serve you. In fact, it only holds you back from the clarity and peace you seek. Imagine for a moment that you're in a confrontation, or perhaps someone makes a sharp comment or an unfair remark. Your chest tightens, your heart rate increases, and before you know it, you're already on the edge of an emotional outburst. The body reacts instinctively, releasing adrenaline, preparing you to fight or flee. But here's the question: how often does that burst of anger actually lead to a positive outcome? Anger is a reaction, not a solution. Think back to a time when you lashed out in anger. Did it bring you closer to the outcome you wanted, or did it leave you with regret, damaged relationships, and a sense of inner chaos? More often than not, anger serves as a temporary release, but it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't resolve the misunderstanding. It doesn't heal the wound. It simply exacerbates the situation. So, why then do we hold on to this destructive emotion? The Stoics, wise philosophers who lived centuries ago, understood this truth deeply. They knew that emotional mastery wasn't about suppressing emotions, it was about controlling them. To understand why anger doesn't serve you, we first need to acknowledge the root cause of our emotional responses. The Stoic teachings guide us to ask, what is really causing this emotion? And more importantly, do I have control over it? The root cause of anger. What are you really fighting? Most of the time, anger stems from a deeper place. It's a response to unmet expectations, fear of loss, or hurt pride. The Stoic philosophers taught us that anger is rarely about the surface-level trigger. It's often the reaction to what we think should have happened, but didn't. Let's break that down. Think about a situation where you were angry. Was it the action itself, or was it your expectation of how that person should have treated you, or how the situation should have unfolded? When someone disrespects us or cuts us off in traffic, for example, our immediate reaction is often anger. But upon reflection, what we're really angry about is the violation of our expectations. We expect people to treat us kindly, to show respect, to be considerate of our time. But the truth is, we cannot control how others act, no matter how much we want to. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about it. How many times have you imagined an argument in your head, or ruminated over a situation that never even happened? Anger often begins not from the situation itself, but from our thoughts about it, our expectations and projections. If we step back and reflect, we realize that the source of anger is not the action of others, but our reaction to it. The danger of anger: what does it cost you? When we let anger take control, we lose our clarity, our ability to think rationally, and most importantly, our peace. It becomes a cycle. Anger leads to rash decisions, which leads to regret, which leads to more frustration, and the cycle continues. But here's the catch: you cannot change the past, and you cannot force someone else to change. The only thing you can control is your response. Anger also has a physiological impact on the body. When we're angry, our body releases stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Over time, chronic anger can lead to serious health issues, from high blood pressure to heart disease. But the cost isn't just physical, it's emotional and mental too. Anger clouds your judgment. It makes you impulsive, reactive, and in some cases, it can even make you blind to opportunities that would otherwise lead you to peace. The Stoic approach: respond, don't react. So, how can we master emotional control and stop letting anger rule our lives? The Stoics taught us to pause before we react, to take a step back and gain clarity before we respond. This is easier said than done, especially when emotions are running high. But with practice, it becomes second nature. Let me give you a simple exercise to start practicing this. When you feel the anger rising, take a deep breath. Pause. Step back from the situation, even if just for a moment. Ask yourself, what is really happening here? What am I really angry about? Is it the situation, or is it my expectation of the situation? In that moment of pause, you create space between the stimulus, the situation, and your response, your anger. That space is where your power lies. The Stoics didn't tell us to deny our emotions or suppress them. They taught us to understand and process them. When we experience anger, we don't need to bottle it up or let it explode. Instead, we should examine it, ask ourselves why it's there, and use it as a signal, not as an excuse for destructive behavior. The power of silence: mastering your response. Another key lesson from Stoic philosophy is the power of silence. When anger strikes, silence is your greatest ally. We live in a world that encourages us to react immediately, to speak our mind, to defend our honor. But silence, true intentional silence, has a strength all its own. In the heat of the moment, before you speak in anger, remember that the words you say in anger are often the ones you'll regret later. Stoics like Epictetus believed that silence wasn't a sign of weakness, but a mark of inner strength. By remaining silent, you gain control over your response, and you give yourself time to regain perspective. Think about it. When someone insults you or disrespects you, your natural impulse is to fight back, to prove your point, to defend your pride. But when you choose silence, you're not letting them win. You're choosing to rise above. Silence gives you the space to decide how you want to respond, without the pressure to react immediately. It gives you the power to respond with clarity, grace, and intelligence. And in doing so, you take back your power. Laughing at life, the Stoic's secret weapon. One of the most powerful tools in a Stoic's emotional toolkit is the ability to laugh. Yes, laugh. I know it might sound counterintuitive, especially when you're dealing with anger or frustration, but hear me out. The Stoics believed in not taking life too seriously. Life, after all, is full of obstacles, failures, and challenges. But when we react with anger, we're feeding into the drama, and the ego thrives on drama. When you laugh at the absurdity of life, you disarm the power of anger. Laughter isn't denial. It's the ability to see the situation from a perspective that isn't clouded by ego. Next time you find yourself angry, try to laugh. Not at the person or the situation, but at the ridiculousness of it all. Laughter helps you detach from the emotion, break free from the cycle of reactivity, and return to your calm center. And it might just remind you that life isn't as serious as we often make it out to be. The wisdom of choosing peace over ego. The Stoic mindset encourages us to value our inner peace more than our ego. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every insult is worth responding to. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to walk away, to choose peace over conflict. In fact, Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, famously said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This means that true strength comes not from dominating others or being right, but from having the self-control to walk away from petty conflicts and preserve your peace. When you choose peace, you choose freedom, freedom from the chains of anger, resentment, and bitterness. In the heat of the moment, it can be easy to fall into the trap of proving ourselves right, of winning the argument, of showing the world that we're in control. But in the end, true power lies in letting go of the need to prove anything. It's about knowing that your peace isn't for sale, that you don't need to react to every offense, and that your worth isn't defined by the opinions of others. Turning anger into growth. Finally, understand that anger, when processed correctly, can be an opportunity for personal growth. Instead of letting it consume you, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What is this anger showing me about my beliefs, my values, or my expectations? By examining your anger in this way, you can transform it into a stepping stone for growth. Anger isn't a flaw, it's a tool. But like any tool, it must be used with intention. The Stoics didn't see anger as an enemy. They saw it as a challenge to rise above. Every time you choose to manage your anger instead of being controlled by it, you gain greater emotional intelligence and resilience. The path forward, emotional mastery. Mastering emotional control isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about understanding them, choosing how to respond, and ultimately transforming them into opportunities for growth. By following the Stoic path, you stop reacting impulsively to the world around you and start acting with intention, clarity, and purpose. So the next time you feel that surge of anger rising, pause. Step back and reflect. Ask yourself, is this really about the situation, or is it about my expectations? How can I respond in a way that aligns with the person I want to be? When you do this, you'll find that you can move through life with a sense of calm and control, no matter what comes your way. Because when you master your emotions, nothing and no one can disturb your peace. And that is the ultimate power, the power to remain calm, grounded, and unshaken, no matter what life throws at you. Silence. It's often misunderstood. In a world that thrives on noise, constant notifications, endless chatter, and the endless pursuit of validation, silence feels like a luxury. Something rare, something to be feared, avoided, or seen as a void. But what if I told you that silence isn't the absence of sound or activity? What if it was the key to unlocking your greatest potential, your inner peace, your true power. Let me ask you this. How often do you find yourself reacting to life, letting external noise control your thoughts, your feelings, your actions? How often do you feel overwhelmed by the demands of the world, your work, your relationships, your ambitions? It's exhausting, isn't it? Constantly responding to the noise outside, instead of creating space for your own clarity. Now imagine if you could press pause. Not just on your phone, not just on the noise around you, but on the endless internal chatter that keeps you from focusing on what truly matters. Imagine if silence became your ally, your secret weapon in the fight against chaos, against distractions, and against the constant pull of the world. This is the power of silence. When we think of silence, we often associate it with stillness or passivity. We think of it as something to be avoided, like it's uncomfortable, like it's a lack of engagement. But in reality, silence is the most potent force you have. It's the moment where you gain clarity, where you reset, and where you can truly connect with your thoughts and emotions. Silence is not the absence of activity, it's the creation of space to be present. It's about cutting through the noise, finding that moment to pause, reflect, and reclaim your power. In silence, you can hear the voice that matters the most, your own. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't live in a world of constant noise like we do today, but they were experts in finding stillness within chaos. They knew that true strength doesn't come from reacting impulsively to every situation or being swept up in the current of the moment. True strength comes from pausing, from choosing your response, from remaining calm when the world wants you to lose your mind. Think about Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, a man who lived through war, betrayal, and the constant pressures of ruling an empire. He didn't seek peace through the absence of noise. Instead, he found peace through silence, by finding quiet moments to connect with his inner thoughts, to reflect on his actions, and to control his emotions. That's the power of silence. It gives you the ability to choose how to respond to life, not just react impulsively. It's in those quiet moments, when the world is at its loudest, that you reclaim your inner peace. Silence is not about avoiding the noise, it's about being able to rise above it. So how can we cultivate this silence in a world that constantly demands our attention? It starts with the simple act of slowing down. Most people go through their days on autopilot, constantly moving, constantly reacting, constantly checking their phones, constantly seeking validation from others. We live in a culture where being busy is celebrated, where being active is the norm, and where stillness is often seen as a sign of weakness or laziness. But here's the truth. The busiest person isn't always the most productive. The most active person isn't always the most fulfilled. To truly harness the power of silence, you must first learn to slow down. You need to give yourself permission to pause. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It means taking a moment to step back, to breathe, to clear your mind, and to decide what you want to focus on. It's about intentionally creating space in your life for the things that matter most. The first step is simple. Stop, breathe, and listen. How often do you rush through your day from task to task without truly being present? How often do you find yourself reacting to things without taking a moment to think? This is the noise we create. We let our reactions dictate how we experience the world, instead of choosing how we want to respond. But when you embrace silence, you change the narrative. You become the one who decides how to engage with the world, not the world dictating how you engage. You can stand firm, grounded in your own thoughts, not easily swayed by the chaos that surrounds you. In those moments of silence, you can check in with yourself. How do you feel? What's truly important to you right now? What is the best response to this situation? These are the questions you can only answer when you give yourself permission to be still. But silence also teaches you something deeper. It teaches you to embrace the present. We live in a world of distractions, constantly pulling our attention away from what's in front of us. We're either living in the past, rehashing old wounds, or worrying about the future, creating anxiety that isn't even real yet. Silence has the power to pull you back to the now. When you stop and take a breath, you reconnect with the present moment. You let go of the distractions and focus on the truth. The here and now is all that matters. In this space, you begin to realize that much of the chaos in your life comes from your own thoughts. Most of the noise isn't out there in the world, it's in your head. And silence helps you clear that mental clutter. It gives you the space to separate the noise from the truth. And once you do that, once you create that space, you become empowered. You're no longer a puppet pulled by your emotions, by your reactions, or by the external forces trying to grab your attention. Instead, you are in control. So, how do you practice silence in your daily life? It starts with small moments throughout the day. Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier than usual and just sitting in silence, letting your mind wake up gradually, without the rush of the day. Maybe it's stepping outside for a few minutes during lunch to listen to the world around you, instead of plugging into your phone or computer. Maybe it's taking a few deep breaths before responding to an email or a text message that you know will trigger a reaction. It's about building these moments of silence into your day so that they become part of your routine. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to access that stillness when you need it the most. And over time, you'll find that you're more grounded, more focused, and more resilient in the face of life's challenges. The truth is, silence is not just a tool for finding peace, it's a tool for mastering yourself. It's about choosing how to respond, not react. It's about being present in the moment, not controlled by your past or future. And when you embrace silence, you unlock a power that no external chaos can ever touch. Next time you find yourself overwhelmed, frustrated, or about to lose your cool, remember the power of silence. Use it to reset. Use it to reclaim your peace. Use it to step back from the noise and find the clarity to move forward with purpose and calm. The world can be chaotic, but your inner world doesn't have to be. You have the power to choose silence, to choose peace, to choose clarity. And in doing so, you reclaim your life. So, what will you choose? Will you let the noise control you, or will you rise above it with the power of silence? The choice is yours. Laughter is a powerful tool. It's not just a reaction to a joke or something funny. It's a weapon, a shield, and a mindset all rolled into one. It's one of the most transformative ways to shift your perspective, especially when life throws challenges your way. And here's the thing, challenges are going to come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Whether you're facing a difficult job, a relationship struggle, or simply trying to find your place in the world, life will test you. But what if I told you that the way you face these challenges, the way you respond, could change everything? Imagine this, you're dealing with a frustrating situation. Maybe you've been rejected from something you really wanted. Maybe someone you care about lets you down. Maybe you feel overwhelmed by all the responsibilities life is throwing at you. It's easy to feel defeated. It's easy to get caught up in the emotional whirlwind. But what if you didn't have to get caught up in that storm? What if instead, you could look at the situation, take a step back, and laugh? Now, I know this might sound strange at first. How can you laugh when everything seems to be falling apart? But that's exactly the point. Laughter isn't about denying your feelings or pretending that everything is fine. It's about choosing to shift your perspective. It's about choosing to see the humor in the situation, whether it's the absurdity of the challenge or the simple fact that you're still standing. It's about realizing that you are not the problem. Life's challenges don't define you. They just give you the chance to define how you react. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't shy away from life's challenges, they embraced them. But they didn't let those challenges control them. Instead, they used challenges to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. One of the most powerful tools in their arsenal? Humor. Not as a way to escape, but as a way to approach the chaos of life with perspective and calm. Take a moment and think about it. How many times have you found yourself consumed by frustration or anger, only to look back later and realize how insignificant the problem really was? How many times have you gotten upset about something, only to laugh about it later? That shift in perspective, that ability to look at life with a bit of humor, is what allows you to handle anything with grace. And laughter, in its most powerful form, allows you to take life a little less seriously. It lets you take a step back and realize that you are in control of how you respond. The ability to laugh at life's challenges is not just a sign of emotional resilience. It's a reflection of a deep sense of self-awareness. It's a reflection of your ability to detach from the drama, the frustration, the pain, and the stress. Instead of getting lost in it, you rise above it. And when you rise above the situation, you begin to see the humor in it. When you laugh, you shift from being a victim of circumstance to a master of your own reactions. You take back the power that might have been taken from you by stress, fear, or anger. Laughter doesn't change the fact that challenges exist. It changes the way you experience them. It's like putting on a different lens. Instead of viewing the situation through the lens of frustration or anger, you view it through the lens of perspective. And when you do that, everything shifts. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation where, in the heat of the moment, you could have chosen to react negatively, but instead, you chose to laugh or smile? In that moment, did you feel your tension ease up? Did you feel your perspective shift? That's the power of laughter. It's not just about feeling better, it's about seeing things differently. When you can laugh at the situation, you stop being at its mercy. You regain control. This doesn't mean that life's challenges aren't difficult. It doesn't mean that you won't feel hurt, frustrated, or even angry at times. But it means that you are no longer defined by those emotions. You no longer let them take over and dictate your actions. Instead, you approach them with a sense of humor and a sense of control. You see them for what they are, temporary. Challenges come, and they go. They don't last forever, unless you let them. And the way you allow them to last or fade is by choosing your reaction. Incorporating laughter into your approach to life's challenges also helps to foster a sense of gratitude. Think about it. When you look at the bigger picture, you can find gratitude in even the most difficult situations. Challenges are what allow you to grow, learn, and expand. Without them, you wouldn't know the strength you're capable of. Without challenges, there's no progress. And laughter reminds you of that truth. It helps you to not take everything so seriously, and in doing so, it gives you the space to breathe, to reflect, and to move forward with clarity. Imagine how much easier life would be if, instead of getting overwhelmed by every setback, you learned to laugh at the absurdity of it all. Life can be hard, there's no denying that. But it doesn't have to be miserable. It doesn't have to take away your joy. When you can approach challenges with a sense of humor, you open yourself up to a world of possibility. You stop letting fear, frustration, or failure hold you back. And you realize that every challenge is just another opportunity to practice resilience, to build strength, and to grow into the best version of yourself. And it's not just about laughing at the big challenges in life. It's about finding humor in the small moments, too. The everyday frustrations, the little hiccups, the inconveniences. Instead of letting them derail your day, laugh. Recognize them for what they are, temporary, fleeting moments that don't have the power to control your happiness unless you let them. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the ability to laugh at life's absurdities. To look at the chaos and say, I see you. I recognize that you're here, but you don't have control over me. And the more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Life won't stop throwing challenges at you, but you'll find that you have the power to decide how those challenges affect you. And when you laugh at them, you transform them into opportunities for growth, clarity, and strength. As we continue, let's dive deeper into how this mindset can affect not only your reactions to challenges, but also how it shapes your entire life. Because once you embrace this, once you truly internalize the power of laughter and perspective, you'll find yourself less overwhelmed by stress, less attached to negative emotions, and more open to the beauty that exists even in the most difficult times. And when you do, that's when you step into the life you were meant to live. Laughter is not just a reaction. It's a choice, a mindset, and a powerful tool in transforming the way you experience life. So let's take that next step together and discover how to bring even more power, peace, and presence into your life, starting with the laughter that comes from within. In life, chaos is inevitable. The noise, the distractions, the challenges, they're all a part of the journey. Every day brings something new to face, whether it's unexpected setbacks, difficult conversations, or moments that threaten to throw us off track. And in those moments, it's easy to get lost in the chaos, to feel overwhelmed, to react impulsively. But here's the powerful truth. The key to mastering chaos isn't in trying to eliminate it. It's in developing the strength and clarity to stay calm in its presence. It's in maintaining a long-term vision that guides you, no matter what short-term obstacles arise. You see, chaos in all its forms is temporary. It's fleeting. What lasts, the one thing that remains constant through every storm, is your vision. Your long-term goals, your purpose, your path. When you anchor yourself in that vision, everything else falls into perspective. The distractions, the frustrations, the moments of chaos, they no longer have the power to shake your foundation. You stand tall, grounded in the knowledge that while the storm may rage, it won't last forever. And you won't lose sight of your mission, your purpose, or who you are in the process. The challenge is that, in today's fast-paced world, we're conditioned to focus on the immediate. We're constantly reacting to the next message, the next challenge, the next demand. We are so often caught in the whirlwind of the present that we forget to pause and take a step back to see the bigger picture. But it's in this moment, in this space, that your true power lies. Because the present moment, the chaos of today, will come and go. But the vision you have for your life, your long-term goals, your sense of purpose, that's what will carry you through the storms. How do we stay calm when the world around us is in turmoil? It starts with understanding that the chaos is not the enemy. The real challenge is how we choose to respond to it. Most people, when faced with stress or difficulty, respond emotionally. They react. They let the chaos dictate their actions. But the Stoics understood something vital. They understood that our response to external events is what truly matters. Our inner peace, our ability to stay grounded, is a direct result of how we interpret and respond to the world around us. Take a moment and think about the challenges in your life. The ones that have shaken you, that have made you question your path. Whether it's a personal setback, a career obstacle, or a conflict with someone you care about, how did you react? Did you allow the chaos to consume you, to take you off course? Or did you rise above it, holding firm to the vision of who you are becoming and where you are going? The difference between those who get lost in the storm and those who navigate it with clarity and calmness is their ability to maintain a long-term vision. In times of chaos, it's easy to feel like everything is falling apart. But what if you saw these moments not as disruptions, but as opportunities for growth? What if you viewed the storms of life as stepping stones, not setbacks? When you hold a long-term vision for your life, each challenge becomes a part of the larger picture. It's like a puzzle. Sometimes the pieces may seem out of place, but when you step back and look at the whole image, you see how each piece fits perfectly. So, how do we cultivate this long-term vision that keeps us grounded in the face of short-term chaos? It starts with clarity. You must have a clear sense of your purpose. What is it that you want to achieve in this life? What kind of person do you want to become? And most importantly, why? Your long-term vision isn't just about achieving external goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who can navigate the chaos of life with calmness, resilience, and unwavering focus. When you are crystal clear about your vision, when you know your why, the distractions of the present moment lose their power. They no longer have the ability to derail you. You understand that these are just temporary challenges, obstacles on the road to where you're going. And because you've anchored yourself in a deep sense of purpose, you stay grounded. You don't let the storm toss you around. Another crucial part of maintaining your long-term vision is patience. The world will often try to rush you. It will demand your immediate attention, your quick decisions, your instant reactions. But the path to success, the path to living a life of peace and fulfillment, is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about taking consistent, deliberate steps toward your goal, even when the going gets tough. It's about understanding that growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time, with persistence and focus. When you stay committed to your long-term vision, you can weather any storm. You don't get swept away by the immediate chaos. Instead, you take a step back, breathe, and make your decisions from a place of calm. You trust the process. You trust that, even if things don't go according to plan in the short term, the long-term results will reflect the work you've put in. It's this trust in the process that gives you the strength to remain steady when everything around you seems unstable. Let's talk about the power of detachment in this process. Detachment doesn't mean disengaging from life or not caring about what happens. It means not allowing yourself to be emotionally attached to every outcome. The Stoics taught that we should focus on what is within our control and release the rest. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And when you focus on the long-term vision, you stop getting caught up in the fleeting chaos of the present. Detachment is about recognizing that while the challenges you face today are real, they do not define you. They do not determine your worth. Your ability to stay calm in the face of these challenges, to continue moving forward with your vision in mind, that is what defines you. When you detach from the need for immediate gratification or the desire to control everything around you, you free yourself to make decisions based on your values, your vision, and your long-term goals, not on the chaos of the moment. Now think about the moments when you've been pulled into chaos. Think about the times when you've allowed anger, frustration, or stress to dictate your actions. What happened when you reacted impulsively? Did it lead to the outcome you wanted? Did it bring you closer to your long-term goals? Or did it pull you further away from them? The reality is that reacting to the chaos of the moment rarely leads to positive outcomes. But when you stay calm, when you pause, when you take a step back and choose to focus on your long-term vision, you make decisions that move you forward. So as you face life's challenges, whether big or small, remember this. The chaos of today is just a small piece of the puzzle. It's temporary, but your long-term vision, your purpose, your mission, these are the things that will guide you through the storm. Stay focused, stay patient, and trust the process, because the more you focus on your long-term vision, the less power the chaos of today has over you. The next time life throws you a curveball, take a moment to pause. Breathe. Connect with your long-term vision. Ask yourself, is this situation worth losing my calm? Will this moment define my life, or will it be just a small blip in the bigger picture? The answer will become clear. When you choose to focus on your long-term goals, you become unstoppable. You stop being a victim of life circumstances and start becoming the architect of your own destiny. So let's continue this journey. Let's dive deeper into the mindset that will allow you to stay calm, focused, and resilient, no matter what life throws your way. Because once you understand the power of a long-term vision, everything changes. And you'll never again let short-term chaos dictate your life. Emotional discipline is not just a concept, it's a transformative practice. It's the art of remaining grounded, calm, and in control, even when life tests you in the most unexpected ways. Imagine, for a moment, a world where you no longer feel the overwhelming surge of emotions every time someone cuts you off in traffic or a conversation goes wrong. Picture a life where your inner peace isn't held hostage by someone else's actions or the unpredictable twists of fate. This is not just a dream, it's a reality within your reach. Now, you may be thinking, isn't reacting human? Isn't it normal to get angry, frustrated, or upset when things don't go our way? And the answer is yes, of course. Emotions are a part of the human experience. They are natural responses to life's events. But here's where the power lies. It's not in the emotion itself, but in how you choose to respond to it. The ability to master your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It's about creating space between stimulus and reaction, where you get to choose your response, not just react on autopilot. This is emotional discipline, the practice of training yourself to respond with intention, to pause and reflect before acting, and to make calm your default state. And yes, it is a challenge, but it's a challenge worth embracing. It's a challenge that will fundamentally change how you experience the world and how the world experiences you. Let's break this down further. The first step in developing emotional discipline is understanding the nature of emotions. Emotions are signals. They arise as a response to an external event or internal thought. Anger, fear, sadness, they're all messengers. But just because an emotion arises doesn't mean it controls you. It simply means that something is happening, something is being triggered. Maybe it's a frustration, a fear, an unmet expectation, or a deeply held belief about yourself or the world. The key is to recognize that emotions don't happen to you, they happen with you. You are not a passive receiver of emotions. Awareness. Awareness of the emotional signals that arise, awareness of what triggers them, and most importantly, awareness of your choice in how you respond. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed with emotion. Maybe you were angry, or frustrated, or anxious. How did you respond? Did you react immediately without thought? Did you let the emotions dictate your actions? Or did you take a step back, took a breath, and responded with calm? The truth is, in those moments, your emotional response was determined by the thoughts and beliefs you were holding at the time. You can't control what happens in the world, but you can control how you interpret it. And that interpretation is what determines your emotional response. This is where emotional discipline becomes a game changer. Instead of letting your emotions control you, you take control of your emotions. It's about reclaiming your power to choose how you react, regardless of the situation. When you train yourself to pause, to breathe, and to reflect before reacting, you create space for calm to enter. And in that space, you can choose a response that aligns with your values, your long-term vision, and your inner peace, not a reaction based on fear, anger, or frustration. But here's the catch. Emotional discipline is not something that happens overnight. It's a muscle that needs to be trained. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. Think of it like working out. The first time you lift weights, it's hard. Your muscles are sore, and you may not see results immediately. But over time, with consistency and intention, you build strength. The same is true with emotional discipline. The more you practice pausing before reacting, the more you create the habit of calm. The more you choose to respond thoughtfully, the more you rewire your brain to default to peace instead of chaos. Now, this doesn't mean that you'll never feel anger or frustration again. Emotions will always arise. But what changes is your relationship with them. Instead of letting them control you, you control them. Instead of letting a moment of anger dictate your entire day, you acknowledge the anger, understand its source, and choose to move forward with a clear, calm mind. The moment you gain control over your emotional responses, you break free from the chaos that has the potential to derail you. This is why emotional discipline is so empowering. It allows you to rise above the noise of life. It lets you stay centered in the face of challenges. It teaches you that your peace doesn't depend on external circumstances. It depends on how you choose to respond to them. And this, my friend, is true freedom. The freedom to remain calm in the midst of chaos, to stay grounded when the world around you feels like it's spinning out of control. But how do you practice emotional discipline in real life? It starts with small moments. The next time you're in a conversation and you feel that familiar surge of frustration, pause. Take a breath. Don't react. Just breathe. In that pause, you create the space to choose. You can choose to stay calm, to respond thoughtfully, or to walk away if necessary. You don't have to engage in every argument or fight. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Your peace is worth more than winning a battle that isn't yours to fight. As you begin to master emotional discipline, you'll notice a shift in your life. The small moments of frustration won't escalate into full-blown anger. The big challenges won't overwhelm you. You'll begin to find peace in the most difficult situations because you know that your inner world is under your control. You'll stop letting external events dictate your emotions. Instead, you'll decide how to respond every time. Emotional discipline also means letting go of past baggage. It means not carrying old hurts, old grudges, and past mistakes into the present moment. When you choose to stay calm, you free yourself from the weight of resentment and bitterness. You stop carrying other people's actions as a burden. You don't let their behavior dictate how you feel. Instead, you let go. You release it. You move forward with a clean slate, ready to respond with clarity and peace, not with past wounds. And here's the beautiful part. When you master emotional discipline, you don't just change how you respond to the world. You change how the world responds to you. People will start to notice your calm. They'll notice your ability to handle challenges with grace and composure. You'll become the person others turn to for guidance, not because you're perfect, but because you've learned how to maintain peace in the midst of chaos. And in a world full of emotional turbulence, that's a rare and powerful gift. So, how do you make emotional discipline your personal challenge? Start small. Start with one moment each day where you consciously choose to pause before reacting. Build your emotional muscle, one moment at a time. The more you practice, the stronger you become. And soon, calm will no longer be something you strive for. It will be who you are, your default setting, the lens through which you view the world. In the end, emotional discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about getting better every day, one intentional response at a time. And when you choose calm over chaos, you not only change your life, you change the world around you. So embrace this challenge. Make it your personal mission. Choose peace. Choose clarity. And watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Accepting reality. It's a phrase many of us hear often, but one that's rarely fully understood or truly practiced. We live in a world where expectations are the foundation of our happiness and success. We expect people to treat us a certain way. We expect our careers to follow a specific trajectory. We expect life to unfold according to a script we've written in our minds. And when reality doesn't align with those expectations, we're thrown into turmoil. The truth is, the struggle we face in life often comes from one simple thing: the gap between our expectations and the reality that is. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself frustrated, angry, or disappointed because things didn't go the way you thought they should? You plan, you prepare, you expect, and then life laughs in your face. And that frustration you feel, it's not because of life itself, it's because of what you thought should happen versus what is happening. This gap creates pain, and that pain comes not from the events themselves, but from your resistance to what is. Now let me ask you something. What if, instead of resisting reality, you learn to accept it as it is? What if you could release the weight of unrealistic expectations and embrace life as it unfolds? Wouldn't that bring you more peace? Wouldn't that free you from unnecessary suffering? The Stoics, long before modern psychology and self-help, understood this profound truth. Peace comes not from controlling life, but from accepting it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, wrote in his Meditations, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" Imagine living with that mindset. Instead of feeling like life is something you need to control, you begin to see it as something you flow with. Instead of fighting against the natural course of events, you surrender to it, trusting that life will unfold as it's meant to. Now, I'm not saying you should abandon your dreams, give up on your goals, or stop striving for success. That's not what acceptance means. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It means finding peace in the process, no matter how unpredictable or chaotic it might be. It means letting go of the need for everything to go according to your plan, and instead being fully present in whatever is happening now. It's about shifting your mindset from resistance to openness. We are constantly at odds with life when we try to force it into the mold of our expectations. Think about the times when you've been disappointed, whether it's a relationship that didn't work out, a career opportunity that fell through, or something else entirely. We hold on to these expectations, and when they're not met, we are left feeling betrayed, frustrated, or even hopeless. But here's the thing, expectations are not promises. They are projections of what we want, what we hope for, but they are never guaranteed. To break free from this cycle, we need to first recognize that our suffering often comes from what we think life should be. We're so focused on how things should be that we miss the beauty of what they actually are. We miss the lessons in the challenges. We miss the growth in the discomfort. We miss the joy in the present moment. But what if you could let go of those rigid expectations? What if, instead of being fixated on outcomes, you could focus on the journey? What if, instead of being upset when life doesn't go the way you planned, you could see it as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to learn and adapt? Imagine how much more peaceful and free you would feel if you accepted reality for what it is, without fighting it at every turn. This is where emotional mastery comes in. Accepting reality means accepting your emotions too. We often resist how we feel, labeling emotions like anger, sadness, or frustration as bad. We try to suppress them, deny them, or distract ourselves from them. But what if, instead of rejecting these emotions, you learn to observe them, to sit with them, to accept them as part of your human experience? What if you realize that your emotions are just another part of reality, and learning to accept them would help you move through them more effectively? When you let go of the need for things to go your way, you free yourself from the anxiety and stress that comes with constant control. You allow life to unfold in its own way, at its own pace, and you trust that it's all happening for your greater good. This doesn't mean you stop taking action or striving for your goals. It just means you no longer tie your happiness and peace to a specific outcome. You start to realize that happiness isn't about external circumstances, it's about internal acceptance. But how do we truly begin to let go of these expectations? It starts with awareness. You have to first recognize when you're holding on too tightly to a desired outcome. Are you clinging to the idea of how things should be? Are you holding on to resentment because things didn't turn out the way you planned? Acknowledge those feelings, and instead of pushing them away, ask yourself, what am I learning from this? How can I grow from this experience? Then comes the practice of detachment. Detachment isn't about disconnecting from life or giving up on your dreams. It's about letting go of your attachment to specific outcomes and learning to enjoy the process. It's about accepting that life is fluid, ever-changing, and unpredictable. And instead of feeling like a victim when things don't go your way, you choose to see the bigger picture. You remind yourself that you have the power to adapt, to learn, and to make the most of any situation. Acceptance also requires a deep sense of self-awareness. It requires you to be honest with yourself about where you are in life and what you truly want. Are you pursuing your goals because they align with your values, or because you feel you should? Are you holding on to expectations that no longer serve you? Being able to answer these questions honestly is key to letting go of what's no longer working and embracing what is. This shift in perspective allows you to find peace, even in the face of life's challenges. When you stop fighting against reality, you stop wasting energy on things you cannot control. Instead, you use that energy to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, and your mindset. As you practice accepting reality, you'll start to notice a profound change in your life. You'll experience less frustration, less disappointment, and more peace. You'll stop feeling victimized by life's challenges and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. And most importantly, you'll realize that life doesn't need to be perfect for you to be happy. You don't need everything to go according to your plan for you to feel at peace. Now, imagine applying this lesson to your everyday life. How much more present would you be in your relationships if you let go of unrealistic expectations of others? How much less stress would you feel if you stopped forcing outcomes in your career and instead focused on doing your best every day? How much more content would you be if you stopped waiting for the perfect moment to live your life and embraced the beauty of what is right now? The power to accept reality is the power to reclaim your peace. It's the power to stop letting external circumstances dictate your internal state. It's the power to find happiness in the present moment, instead of chasing it from one fleeting expectation to the next. And the moment you truly embrace this concept, you will experience a sense of freedom that is beyond anything you've known before. So, let go of what no longer serves you. Let go of the expectations that weigh you down. Accept life as it is, and watch how it transforms you. Imagine walking through life, day after day, without feeling the weight of every comment, every judgment, every slight, or every hurt. What would it feel like if you could release the grip that other people's words and actions have on your peace of mind? Would you feel lighter, freer, more in control of your own emotional state? This is the essence of not taking things personally. In a world where opinions are constantly thrown our way, where criticism is inevitable, and where expectations are often not met, the ability to not internalize the things said or done by others is a superpower. But it's a superpower that requires mastery over your own emotions and reactions. And the first step to that mastery is understanding why we take things personally in the first place. We often think that when someone insults us, criticizes us, or wrongs us in some way, it's about us. We believe that the comment about our work, the snide remark about our appearance, or the dismissal of our ideas is a direct reflection of who we are. But here's the hard truth: it's not. What others do and say is a reflection of them, not you. When we take things personally, we give other people's perceptions power over us. We allow their moods, their judgments, and their words to dictate how we feel about ourselves. The first step to protecting your peace is recognizing this fundamental truth. What others think of you is none of your business. People project their own insecurities, fears, and experiences onto the world, and when they interact with you, that's what they are reflecting. Their reactions are not about you. They are about their own internal world. And when we internalize their opinions, we give up our peace in exchange for something that doesn't even belong to us. Taking things personally is a trap. It's an emotional chain that binds us to the opinions of others, and the more we allow it, the more power we hand over. It's like giving away the keys to your peace. When you internalize other people's negativity, when you assume that their words are a reflection of your worth, you've already lost the battle. Because no one else can determine your value but you. And yet, many of us are guilty of letting other people's judgments and words determine how we see ourselves. We feel hurt when someone doesn't appreciate our efforts, or when someone rejects our ideas. We let their opinions become our reality. But that is not the path to inner peace. The path to inner peace is realizing that their opinions are theirs, not yours. Their judgments are a product of their experiences, not your truth. So, how do we break free from this? How do we stop taking things personally and start protecting our peace? The first step is awareness. You must become aware of when you're taking something personally. That's the key to breaking the cycle. When someone criticizes you or dismisses you, stop and ask yourself, is this about me or about them? Recognize that you are not defined by their words. Their criticism, their hurt, their negativity, it's all about their lens, their perception. It's not about you. The second step is reframing. Instead of seeing someone's criticism or negative behavior as a direct attack on you, reframe it as a reflection of where they are in their life. People who are secure, happy, and at peace don't lash out at others. Those who are quick to criticize, to judge, or to hurt others are often dealing with their own unresolved pain. Their behavior is a reflection of their inner world, not a reflection of who you are. When you can view the situation this way, you take away its power over you. You stop making their actions about you, and instead, you make it about them. And in doing so, you reclaim your power. You stop letting their actions dictate your emotions. The third step is setting boundaries. To protect your peace, you need to set boundaries around what you're willing to accept from others. This includes both how others treat you and how much influence their opinions have over your own sense of self-worth. Boundaries are not about building walls. They're about building healthy lines that protect your emotional well-being. When someone is being disrespectful, judgmental, or toxic, it's your right to distance yourself from their negativity. You don't need to engage in every argument, to defend yourself in every situation, or to seek validation from others. Set a boundary, and choose not to let their energy affect you. You also need to stop seeking approval from others. Too often, we seek validation from the outside world to confirm our worth. We seek praise for our work, approval for our decisions, or recognition for our efforts. But when we base our self-worth on what others think of us, we become vulnerable to their judgments. The more we seek approval, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment, because not everyone is going to like us, agree with us, or appreciate us. The only approval you truly need is your own. Another key aspect of not taking things personally is practicing self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. When someone criticizes you, don't internalize it. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and remind yourself of your own worth. You don't need to seek validation from others because you are already enough. Your value is not determined by someone else's opinion of you. Your worth is intrinsic. You are worthy simply because you exist. Finally, remember this: you can't control other people's behavior, but you can control how you respond. This is where the real power lies. When you stop reacting to others and start responding with awareness, you take control of your emotional state. You stop being a puppet to other people's words and actions. Instead, you become the master of your own emotional responses. You decide what you will allow to affect you and what you will let go. Taking things personally robs you of your peace. It gives others control over your emotions. But when you stop taking things personally, you reclaim your inner power. You stop letting external circumstances dictate your internal state. You protect your peace, and in doing so, you become unstoppable. As you continue this journey of emotional mastery, you'll start to see just how much power you've been giving away. The more you practice not taking things personally, the more you'll realize that your peace, your happiness, and your sense of self-worth come from within. And once you realize that, nothing on the outside can touch you. Now think about this. What would your life look like if you stopped taking things personally? What would your relationships look like if you stopped internalizing others' judgments? How much lighter would you feel if you let go of the emotional burden of other people's opinions? The more you practice this, the more freedom you'll experience. And in the next phase of this journey, we'll explore how to set boundaries and protect your energy without feeling guilty. Because your peace is your responsibility, and you have the power to protect it at all costs. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their drama or negativity, remember, you don't have to take it personally. You can choose your response. You can choose peace. Carrying resentment is like carrying a heavy backpack every day, one filled with rocks that grow heavier the longer you hold on to them. These rocks are the grudges, the past hurts, the wrongs committed against you. And while the weight of this emotional burden might feel like it's just part of you, weighing you down, keeping you tethered to your past, I want to tell you this. You don't have to carry it anymore. You've probably heard people say, time heals all wounds, but I'm here to tell you that it doesn't. Time is simply a container. It's what you do with your time, how you choose to respond to the past that determines your healing. Letting go of resentment isn't about erasing the past, it's about releasing its hold on you. It's about freeing yourself from the chains that keep you stuck and choosing to live fully in the present, unburdened by the pain and anger of yesteryear. But why do we hold on to resentment in the first place? Why does it feel so tempting, so natural to replay those hurts in our minds, to revisit the wounds that have been inflicted upon us time and time again? It's because we think holding on to that resentment gives us power. We believe that by keeping that emotional energy locked inside, we somehow have control over what happened to us. But in truth, it's not power, it's poison. Resentment is toxic, both to your emotional well-being and to your relationships. It keeps you anchored in the past, reliving old stories, repeating narratives of hurt and injustice. Every time you think about the person who wronged you, you open that emotional wound again, and it festers. But here's the thing you need to realize. That person, that situation, the thing that happened, it's not hurting you anymore. The only person who's still suffering from it is you. Every time you allow resentment to take root in your heart, you're choosing to stay stuck in a moment that has already passed. You're allowing the past to dictate your present. And if you do that, the past will own you. It will shape how you see the world, how you interact with people, how you trust, and even how you love. The power to heal is within you, but it requires you to make the conscious decision to let go. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean you forget what happened. It doesn't mean that you're excusing or tolerating the actions of others. Letting go is about freeing yourself. It's about refusing to carry the weight of someone else's mistakes, someone else's decisions, someone else's shortcomings any longer. And when you make the choice to let go, you take your power back. You stop letting what happened in the past affect your future. You stop letting your resentment keep you trapped in a cycle of anger, hurt, and bitterness. But how do you let go of resentment? It's not as simple as saying, I'm going to forgive and forget. That's not real forgiveness, and that's certainly not how you release resentment. The first step is recognizing that your resentment is hurting you, not the person who wronged you. That's the hard truth. Holding on to resentment doesn't hurt them, it hurts you. It eats away at your peace, your joy, your potential. And it's draining your energy. Once you recognize that resentment is poison, you can start the process of releasing it. The first step is acknowledging the pain. Don't hide from it. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Recognize that you've been hurt, and give yourself permission to feel that hurt. It's okay to feel betrayed, disappointed, angry. Those feelings are valid. But the key here is not to allow those feelings to control you. The second step is taking ownership of your healing. Your healing is your responsibility, not the responsibility of the person who wronged you. You can't change what happened, but you have the power to change how it impacts you moving forward. And that starts by deciding that you're done carrying the weight of resentment. You can choose to release it, little by little, every day. Start with small steps. When those painful memories rise up, remind yourself that you're not letting them control you anymore. When you feel that familiar anger creeping in, pause and breathe. Let it pass. Let it go. Forgiveness is not about condoning the actions of others. It's about setting yourself free. And the more you practice this, the more you'll realize that forgiveness isn't a one-time event. It's a daily choice. It's a commitment to let go of the old wounds so that you can step into the person you're becoming. And let me be clear, letting go of resentment doesn't mean you forget the lessons you've learned from your experiences. It doesn't mean that you allow yourself to be hurt again. It doesn't mean you stay in toxic situations or allow people to walk all over you. What it means is that you stop carrying the emotional burden of what's already happened. You learn from it, grow from it, and move forward without the weight. There's an incredible freedom in letting go of resentment. You free up mental and emotional space to focus on the present moment. You release the negativity that has been holding you back and open the door to joy, peace, and love. You allow yourself to step into your full potential without being dragged down by the past. As you let go of resentment, you'll notice a shift in your relationships. You'll begin to approach others with more compassion and understanding. You'll stop projecting your past hurts onto them. You'll create space for trust, for vulnerability, for real connection. And most importantly, you'll feel a sense of inner peace that comes from knowing you're no longer a prisoner of your past. The final piece of this puzzle is understanding that forgiveness doesn't always happen overnight. It's a process, and it takes time. Some wounds run deep, and healing takes patience. But every time you choose to let go of resentment, you're one step closer to the peace you deserve. You're one step closer to a life filled with clarity, love, and joy. And that's the reward, the peace, the freedom, the ability to move forward without being held back by old pain. The good news is that every time you let go, you become stronger. Every time you release resentment, you become more resilient. You become someone who doesn't let the past define them. You become someone who can rise above the chaos, above the hurt, above the fear. You become the master of your own peace, your own happiness, your own future. And this brings us to the next step in your journey, a journey of reclaiming your power, your peace, and your purpose. Because once you've let go of resentment, you're ready to step into the next phase of your transformation. So what comes next? In the next chapter, we'll explore how setting boundaries and protecting your energy will allow you to live a life that's not only free from resentment, but aligned with your deepest values and desires. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. Emotional self-control is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It's the cornerstone of mastering your own life. And here's the harsh reality. Most of us spend far too much time trying to control others, trying to manipulate outcomes, trying to bend the world to fit our desires. We believe that if we can just change the people around us, we'll find peace, happiness, or success. But here's the truth. You can't control others, and that's where your true power lies. Think about it. Every time you try to control someone else's behavior, whether it's how they respond to you, what they say, or what they do, you're essentially giving away your power. You're handing over control of your emotional state to someone else, to external circumstances. And in doing so, you're saying that your peace, your happiness, your well-being depend on others. That's a dangerous game to play. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't set boundaries or that we shouldn't stand up for ourselves. We all deserve respect, honesty, and integrity from others. But the difference here is in understanding that while you can't control other people's actions, you can control your response. And that's where your emotional self-control comes in. Emotional self-control isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending to be something you're not. It's not about forcing yourself to be calm in the face of adversity, while inwardly you're raging. No, true emotional self-control is about being aware of your feelings, acknowledging them, and then choosing how to respond. It's about taking responsibility for your emotional state instead of handing it over to someone else. Let's go deeper. Think about the last time you felt triggered by someone else. Maybe it was a comment they made, an action they took, or the way they treated you. In that moment, your mind probably raced. You felt angry, frustrated, hurt, or upset. You may have even wanted to react immediately, to lash out or to control the situation. But what if, instead of reacting, you paused? What if you took a deep breath and gave yourself the space to really think about what was going on inside you? Here's the key: what you're feeling is about you, not them. Yes, their behavior might have caused the trigger, but the emotional reaction is coming from within you. It's your perception, your belief, your emotional wound that's being activated. When you realize this, you stop blaming the other person and start taking responsibility for how you feel. When you understand that your emotional response is yours to control, you reclaim your power. You stop reacting from a place of insecurity, fear, or defensiveness, and instead, you respond with clarity and intention. You become the master of your emotions, rather than allowing your emotions to master you. But let's get real for a moment. It's not easy. It's not always simple to let go of the need to control others, especially when their actions directly affect you. It takes practice, it takes awareness, and most importantly, it takes a shift in mindset. The first step is to recognize when you're trying to control someone else, and to ask yourself, what am I really trying to control here? Are you trying to control how they see you, how they treat you? Or are you trying to control the outcome of the situation to feel validated, to feel seen, or to feel safe? The second step is to practice emotional detachment. Emotional detachment doesn't mean that you stop caring about others, or that you become cold or indifferent. It means that you stop letting their actions dictate how you feel. It means you can love, care, and be present with others without being emotionally pulled in every direction by their behavior. Emotional detachment is the ability to create a space between an external event and your internal response. That space is where your power lies. Here's where it gets really powerful. When you stop trying to control others, you create space for things to unfold naturally. You stop trying to force outcomes, and instead, you allow life to happen. You stop spending energy trying to make people do what you want them to do, and instead, you focus on what you can control, yourself. Your thoughts, your actions, your responses. And when you do that, you'll notice a shift. The less you try to control, the more control you actually have over your own life. Let me share a simple example. Imagine you're in a conversation with someone who is being difficult, rude, or dismissive. In the past, you might have tried to control their behavior, maybe by defending yourself, by making them see your point, or by getting them to apologize. You might have felt like you needed to prove yourself, to show them they were wrong, or to make them see things your way. But now, instead of reacting to their behavior, you take a step back. You take a deep breath, you pause, and you ask yourself, what can I control here? You can't control their words or their attitude, but you can control how you respond. You can control your tone, your actions, and most importantly, your peace. You don't need to prove anything to them. You don't need to defend yourself. You simply choose to stay grounded, to stay calm, and to respond from a place of strength, not desperation. In that moment, you've taken your power back. You've stopped trying to control the other person, and instead, you've focused on controlling yourself. And when you do that, you're no longer reacting from a place of fear, insecurity, or ego. You're responding with clarity and confidence. That's emotional self-control. The beauty of emotional self-control is that it gives you the freedom to be yourself, without the constant pressure to control how others see you or how they treat you. You stop being a prisoner to your emotions, to your ego, and to your need for external validation. You begin to live authentically, from a place of inner strength, without being at the mercy of other people's actions. Now, I know this is easier said than done. It's easy to fall back into old habits, to get emotionally swept up in other people's drama, or to try to control situations that are beyond your control. But that's where the real work begins. Every time you choose to respond with emotional control, every time you pause instead of reacting, every time you refuse to be swept up in someone else's chaos, you're strengthening your emotional resilience. And this brings us to the next step on your journey, creating healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the foundation of emotional self-control. When you know what you will and will not tolerate, you create a space where you can protect your peace, your energy, and your well-being. So, in the next section, we'll dive into how to set and maintain boundaries that allow you to live in alignment with your values while still respecting others. Remember, emotional self-control isn't about suppressing your emotions or becoming a robot. It's about learning how to respond, not react. It's about taking back control over your emotional state, rather than giving it away to the actions of others. The more you practice this, the more you will find peace, clarity, and strength, no matter what life throws your way. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your emotional state is completely within your control. Picture a life where external events, other people's actions, or unexpected setbacks don't dictate how you feel or how you react. Sounds like a dream, right? But here's the truth, it's not a dream. It's a possibility, and it all starts with the ACD model. The ACD model, awareness, control, and direction, is a simple yet powerful framework that can transform how you experience your emotions and how you respond to the world around you. It's about creating emotional freedom, the kind of freedom that lets you live on your terms, not at the mercy of others or the chaos of life. Let's break this down and explore each part of the model, starting with awareness. Awareness, the first step to emotional freedom. Awareness is the foundation of emotional self-control. It's the moment when you realize that you are not your emotions. You are not your anger, your sadness, or your fear. These emotions are signals, not your identity. So, the first step in applying the ACD model is to become acutely aware of what you're feeling. This is about observing your emotions without judgment, simply acknowledging them as they arise. Too often, we go through life on autopilot, reacting automatically to everything around us. We don't stop to question why we're upset, why we're frustrated, or why we're anxious. But awareness gives us the ability to pause. It gives us the ability to ask ourselves, why am I feeling this way? What triggered this emotion? And when we start to recognize the trigger points, we gain power over how we react to them. Imagine a situation where someone cuts you off in traffic. The usual response might be anger. Your heart races, your fists tighten, and your first instinct is to react, to shout, to speed up, or to hold on to that anger throughout the day. But when you bring awareness into the equation, you can catch that emotion before it takes hold. You can observe your frustration as a passing cloud, not as a permanent part of who you are. Control, taking responsibility for your emotional state. The next step in the ACD model is control. This is where the power lies. Control doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or ignoring them. It means choosing how to respond to them. Once you're aware of the emotions you're experiencing, you can take responsibility for how you react. No one else controls how you feel or how you respond, only you. Take control by recognizing that you have the power to choose how you interpret and respond to the world. Control is the choice to act with intention instead of reacting from impulse. When you control your emotions, you are not at the mercy of other people's actions. You don't let insults, misunderstandings, or failures derail you. You respond calmly, with clarity, and with purpose. Let's say you're in a difficult conversation with a friend or a colleague. The old way might be to become defensive, to argue, to try to protect your ego to be right. But emotional control allows you to step back and choose a different response. Instead of letting your emotions drive you to fight back, you can choose to listen more attentively, to respond thoughtfully, and to remain calm. You realize that your emotional state is something you can direct, not something that controls you. This is where the true power of emotional control shines. It gives you the ability to maintain your peace even in the most chaotic situations. When you take responsibility for your emotional state, you no longer give away your power to circumstances or other people. You create emotional independence, a space where you're in charge of your feelings, no matter what's happening around you. Direction, shaping your emotional journey. The final part of the ACD model is direction. Once you've cultivated awareness and control, you now have the freedom to direct your emotions. This is where you decide how to channel your feelings in a productive, healthy way. Instead of allowing your emotions to dictate your actions or reactions, you choose to use them as tools to create positive change in your life. Direction is about making conscious choices. It's about shifting your focus from what's going wrong in your life to what you can learn from it. For example, if you're feeling anxious about a big presentation at work, instead of letting that anxiety paralyze you, you direct that energy into preparation and focus. You use the anxiety as motivation to improve, to be better, and to grow. The fear doesn't control you. You channel it to fuel your performance. Direction also means knowing where you're heading in life. What are your goals? What kind of person do you want to be? Once you have clarity on that, you can direct your emotions to align with that vision. If you're feeling frustrated with a setback, instead of letting that frustration hold you back, You use it as fuel to push forward. You keep your eyes on the bigger picture and don't get lost in the small bumps along the way. The freedom in the ACD model. The ACD model offers you a path to emotional freedom. It gives you the tools to navigate life with calm, with purpose, and with resilience. Once you understand the power of awareness, control, and direction, you no longer have to be a victim of your emotions. Instead, you become the creator of your emotional state, and that's where real power lies. But applying this model consistently requires practice. It's not something you master overnight. It's about creating a new habit, a new way of responding to the world. Over time, as you apply awareness, control, and direction in your daily life, you'll notice that your emotional responses become more deliberate, more thoughtful, and more aligned with your values. Gearing up for the next step, strengthening your inner peace. This journey of emotional self-mastery is ongoing. As you continue to apply the ACD model, you will experience a shift in your mindset and your emotional resilience. But the next step in this process is building on this foundation of emotional control. It's time to take the lessons you've learned and build a strong, unshakable inner peace that can weather any storm. The next part of this journey involves learning how to guard your peace, protect your focus, and stay grounded no matter what life throws your way. You will begin to learn the art of sustaining peace even in moments of chaos. So, let's take this to the next level. Let's dive deeper into how to fortify that inner peace so that no external factor can disturb your calm. You've built the foundation, now it's time to make it stronger. In the chaos of daily life, with the constant demands, distractions, and pressures of the world around us, one thing remains the most valuable possession you have: your peace. It's the bedrock of your emotional resilience, your mental clarity, and your true power. And the secret is this: your peace is not just something that happens to you. It's something you must protect. Throughout this journey, we've explored the tools you need to build emotional strength, from the ACD model to emotional self-control, from knowing when to stay silent to letting go of resentment. But the real key to living with purpose, intention, and control lies in one thing: protecting your peace. In this world, it's so easy to become reactive. To feel like your peace is constantly being threatened by someone else's behavior, a missed opportunity, or an obstacle that feels insurmountable. But if you truly want to step into your power, you have to start realizing that your peace is not something external. It's not something that can be taken away by an angry comment or a disagreement. It's an internal state, and you are the only one who can protect it. Protecting your peace means protecting your power. When you protect your peace, you protect your ability to think clearly, to act intentionally, and to move forward with purpose. Without peace, you are left scattered, reactive, and emotionally drained. But when you take the reins of your emotional life and guard your peace, you become unstoppable. You gain the clarity to see the bigger picture, the power to remain calm in the storm, and the strength to stay true to yourself, regardless of external chaos. When you let go of the need to control others or external situations, you free yourself from emotional manipulation and the negative energy that tries to drag you down. You become immune to the external noise and regain your sovereignty over your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your life. Peace is a choice, not a circumstance. Many of us live as though our peace is contingent on the world behaving the way we want it to. If only people were kinder, more understanding, or respectful. If only situations played out the way we expected them to, we'd be at peace. But this kind of thinking is a trap. The truth is, peace is not something that is dependent on other people's actions, the outcome of situations, or the circumstances you face. Peace is a choice. Every time you let anger, frustration, or fear control you, you're choosing to allow those emotions to govern your state of mind. But when you decide that no matter what happens, you will not let anything or anyone steal your calm, that's when your true power is unleashed. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself reacting impulsively, saying things you didn't mean, or allowing your emotions to run wild? Those are the moments when your peace was up for grabs, and you handed it away. But now you have the power to take it back. Every single day, you get to choose your emotional response. You get to choose how you react to the world around you. And the moment you choose peace, you start to create an unshakable foundation that can withstand anything that life throws at you. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. Protecting your peace doesn't mean you'll never face challenges, never feel anger, or never experience difficult emotions. It means that when those emotions come, you don't let them control you. You don't get swallowed by them. You don't let them dictate your actions or shape your identity. You see, the power lies in being present, in acknowledging what you're feeling without judgment, without allowing those feelings to define who you are. When you can sit with your emotions, observe them, and then decide how to respond, that's when you can create true emotional freedom. And in that space, your power lies. Why this matters more than ever. In the fast-paced, hyper-connected world we live in, distractions are everywhere. We are constantly bombarded by external noise, opinions, judgments, social media, work stress, personal challenges. The world is constantly telling us who we should be, what we should feel, and how we should act. But none of that defines you. Your worth, your power, and your peace come from within. They are not tied to your job title, your social status, or your bank balance. They are inherent to who you are. And the more you practice protecting your peace, the more you strengthen your emotional resilience and your ability to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. A call to action: start protecting your peace today. So, what are you going to do with this knowledge? How will you apply the lessons you've learned to protect your peace moving forward? The first step is simple: commit to guarding your inner world. Start by becoming aware of the moments when your peace is threatened. It might be a toxic conversation, an unexpected setback, or a rude comment from a stranger. But when you notice your peace slipping away, pause. Breathe. Take control of your emotional state. Don't let the outside world dictate how you feel. You are in charge. Next, learn to set boundaries. Not just with others, but with yourself. Stop letting your mind wander into negative thought patterns. Stop ruminating on the past, replaying mistakes, or worrying about the future. Stay in the present, in the now, where your peace resides. Finally, remember that peace is a muscle. The more you practice protecting it, the stronger it gets. And when you feel yourself getting thrown off course, come back to your center. Return to the tools that empower you: silence, perspective, emotional discipline, and mindfulness. Closing thoughts: share your peace with the world. When you protect your peace, you not only benefit yourself but also everyone around you. Your peace becomes contagious. People will notice the calmness you exude, the way you handle challenges with composure, and the way you refuse to let anything disturb your inner harmony. And that is powerful. As you continue on your journey, remember this: your peace is your power. No one can take it from you unless you give it away. Protect it, cultivate it, share it with the world. And if this message resonates with you, if you found value in these teachings, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Let's build a community of people who are committed to protecting their peace, owning their power, and living a life that is aligned with their true purpose. Because when you protect your peace, you protect everything that matters. And that's the real power: your ability to remain grounded, calm, and resilient, no matter what life throws at you. So, as we wrap up this episode, take a moment to reflect. What can you do today to protect your peace?